I spoke to the captain, and for now you should be safe at home, at least long enough to make sure your parents do not worry about you, Marcus announced, pulling me out of my thoughts. Thank you. I was filled with relief as I was brought back to reality. I closed the book and let out the breath I didn't know I was holding. If it was my father and sister, I would be worried and anxious to see them. Besides, if we are right about you, it'd be nice if you became an actual peacekeeper. Marcus moved closer to me and asked, You okay? I read some of the entries, I whispered, barely trusting my own voice. One of the darkest times for magic. The fear seemed to consume everything in its path. Everyone was tossing out what little of our traditions remained to protect themselves. Marcus sighed. Even now we are still living with that fear. Everyone would prefer to remain fiction so we could hide. It's easy to hide from someone when they don't expect you to exist. I stopped, not sure how to ask. Is magic going to remain hidden forever? At one point there was a plan made, but we would need everyone to agree. The vampires, the fairies, the demons, both light and dark, the dwarves, the elves, everyone. I decided that was not the time to comment on the existence of werewolves. After all, he was the expert. He said, if you guys were right about me, are you expecting me to be a phoenix? We looked through your family archives, he answered. If anyone in our generation is a phoenix, it would most likely be you. What about Elizabeth? It's already clear that she has light magic. A phoenix would have fire. I shrugged it off. When do we leave? Right now, if you wish. He gave me a smile as he held his hand in offering. Do we have to go the same way we got here? I asked, not wanting to move any long distances in the blink of an eye. If you want to see them today, we will. Where are we, anyway? I asked, realizing I had no idea where we were. Southern Russia, he stated. I don't pay much attention to the human world and its borders, so I'm not sure on the exact place. Russia? We went from Arizona to Russia in the blink of an eye, I demanded. The careful self-control I normally had around strangers was starting to crumble at the news that clearly broke the laws of physics. Come on, he encouraged. Try closing your eyes. They just hold on to your arm. I mean, do you have to hold me this time? Not exactly eager to be in the arms of someone I just met. Come here, he offered his arm, which I took nervously. After I closed my eyes, I heard, Lune Magikai. I held my breath and heard, we are here. When I opened my eyes, it was raining and we were on the corner by my house. I moved away from Marcus and whispered, Thank you again for this. I waved slightly and ran to my house. He smiled back and let out a sigh. His expression then changed to something that made me pity him for some bizarre reason. I turned around before opening the door and he was gone. Hey, I greeted my brother as I walked into my room. Our house was a one-story and the path to my room made me pass his. Hey yourself, where have you been for the past 2 hours? Jeremy turned away from his computer as he spoke. Long story short, I went for a stroll, I lied, purposely not looking him straight in the eye. Rough day at school, he asked me. He knew I didn't get along well with people my age. Glad it's over. I turned to face him and smiled. His brown hair was growing out of control on his head, and his brown eyes were looking into my gray-blue ones, searching for the truth. I knew I couldn't tell a soul. Something told me that the consequences would be severe for both me and whoever I told, so I kept quiet. Satisfied, he nodded his head, the go-ahead in the LaRose household. I closed my eyes and locked my bedroom door behind me. I then slid to the floor slowly. The day's events hit me like a brick wall. I put my head in my hands and started to have a slight emotional breakdown. It was my best way of dealing with large amounts of stress. Bury it until I was alone, then completely shattered while no one watched. This little ritual started when I realized that breaking down in front of the boys at school only made it worse. So now, after 5 years of this, I had mastered the art of completely shutting down emotions till a more convenient time. After about 10 minutes of sitting on my bedroom floor, I stood up and wiped the tears from my face. I heard a familiar call of Alakara from my mother across the house. They were back from the store. Hi, Mom. I gave my mother a smile. Hi, Dad. Standing near Caroline was Timothy LaRose. I held high respect for both my parents for as long as I could remember. Both constantly set the perfect example of how one should behave in society, and both were amazing role models that I strived to be just like someday. Neither of my parents smoked, did drugs, or drank anything more than a polite glass of wine at a party. and they always kept their promises. My mother always showed outward kindness and a loving nature that one couldn't help but smile when she did. "How was your day?" Mom asked me. It didn't appear like she knew I had spent a great deal of the afternoon somewhere else, so I decided to respond normally. "Okay," I lied, my normal response in my normal tone. "Go and load the car," Timothy whispered to his son. Jeremy stood up to get his shoes, and all was normal and well in the household. This as far as anyone besides I knew, anyway. I was nervous and scared for my family and myself. When I woke up this morning, demons and magic had only been fiction. I knew what had happened so far was only the tip of the iceberg. There was more going on around me than I saw. There always was. The only question in my mind now was, could I do it? Was it possible that a girl from a small town in Arizona would be able to defend herself and those she cared about? "They won't stop hunting you until they have your head on a stick," I recalled Marcus saying. I hoped there was a way to stop them before they could hurt someone I cared about. Chapter 5. It was dark, and I heard dripping in the back somewhere, as if someone had left a faucet running. I seemed to be moving towards some goal out of sight, and then I saw the monster. It had pure black eyes, its teeth were yellow and rotten with blood clinging to them. Its skin was like lava that had just started the cooling process, black and rubbery with spots of white light. It had claws that looked sharp enough to rival even the most dangerous of tigers. There was a burst of flame, revealing the dripping sound was caused by blood falling. I held out my hand, and a bright flash of orange fire consumed the creature. My eyes shot open, and I sat up quickly. It took a few seconds to clear my head of the few remnants of the dream. I rarely dreamed, but when I did, it was always something unusual. This dream had been no different, except this time I knew what had caused the dream. I sighed, remembering why I avoided horror films. Shaking off the dream, I went through my normal morning routine. Breakfast, shower, hair, teeth, socks, shoes, and backpack. I started the walk to school. My middle school was about a quarter mile from that house. It took me about 10 to 15 minutes to get there. On the outside, my school was pretty standard. A cluster of 5 buildings, an office, the smallest building, cafeteria which combined with the gym, largest building, and 3 separate buildings for the 3 grades. It was a small school since we didn't live in a big city like Phoenix. This resulted in small class sizes, and those who were different ended up isolated. Did my best to act natural. I avoided the people who thought bullying me was fun and made polite contact with those that didn't. I felt on edge all day. No one said anything. So I figured they either didn't notice or didn't care. Both sounded perfectly fine to me. "Hey," I heard as I left class at 3. Some girl in shorts was at the fence waving me over. "What's wrong?" I asked the girl as she pointed at a man with sunglasses and a business suit. "He's been there all day. I think he's going to kidnap someone or something," the girl whispered to me. "Come on, be serious." I seriously hoped he wasn't waiting for anyone. "I am. He has been there all day." "Didn't you notice him at lunch?" "I was inside at lunch. Unlike most people my age, I preferred sitting inside reading a book." "Oh," she said awkwardly, "but he was still there all day." "See you on Monday." I waved at her and walked away, hoping that the eyes under those glasses weren't pitch black. Walked home, picking up my pace and looking back to see if anyone was following me. "You look nervous." "Wah!" I screamed and jumped back at Marcus's sudden appearance right in front of me. "Sorry." His face was twisted with amusement. "That was not funny," I told him. "You nearly gave me a heart attack." I walked past him, now annoyed. I saw him roll his eyes as I passed. "Where are you headed off to in such a rush?" he asked casually. "Home." "Then where were you just now? Doesn't the world of magic," I whispered the last word carefully, "have some kind of school? Even if it did, it wouldn't matter because I was taught at home," I explained. "I don't know whether to pity you or envy you." "Why would you envy me?" "Going to get picked on for being different," I said simply and continued on my way home. "Is someone following you? Is that why you're on edge?" he asked. Marcus now seemed almost angry as he too quickened his pace. We were almost running at this point. "Maybe," I whispered nervously. I turned to him and saw the same figure from the school behind me and frowned. What? He was definitely angry now. There was some creep at school that had been there all day, as if he was waiting for someone. "Why did you not contact me?" he demanded. "You never told me how to contact you," now arguing quietly. I'll deal with it. Marcus gave the figure a glare and whispered, Delirium. There was a sudden sound of rushing water and what might have been cursing. What did you just do? Buy us time. Come on. Marcus grabbed my wrist and heard to pull me away from the gutted street. I started noticing water was rushing by our feet from behind us. Is my family safe? I asked, refusing to leave if they were in danger. I'll call someone, but don't worry. You are not with them, so the demons have no reason to go there. Are you sure? I asked. I heard the worry in my voice, and Marcus sighed. They will be fine. He put his hand on my shoulder and gave it a squeeze. Did you get a good look at this guy? Yeah, but he was wearing sunglasses, I recalled looking into Marcus's green eyes. Do you recognize his face? I think so, yeah. Good. Then we are getting out of here. Where are we going? One of our safe houses. He gave me a smile, and his emerald eyes tinted with mischief. And where is that? Sorry, top secret. Only peacekeepers know where they are, he teased. I rolled my eyes. Then it hit me, and I frowned a little. I was so comfortable around a guy I barely even knew, and I'd barely had a real conversation with the classmates I've known for years. Something wrong? He asked me. Nothing. I shook my head and gave him a fake smile. He sighed. Come on, he held out his hand. Again with the weird teleportation thing? Just to get to the station, he clarified. The safe house is enchanted, so magic cannot be used near it. We will be taking a train. Tell me this isn't going to be like one of those wizard novels. I assure you we are not going to be running through walls or flying, just a normal train ride. Why should I believe you? Because there is a demon behind you and we need to get out of here. Looked at something over my shoulder and glanced at me. Seriously? I asked, turning to look behind me, but before I could finish, Marcus had teleported us to an empty alley that was definitely not in Arizona. You have got to stop doing that, I demanded, though I sounded weak and had my arms wrapped around my stomach. Something was wrong. I felt very sick, and he was lucky I wasn't vomiting on his boots. Are you okay? He asked with concern in his voice. I'm a little freaked out, and teleportation is making me nauseous. I took a few deep breaths and stood up straight. Will you be okay for the train ride? Yeah, but please stop doing that. One gets used to it. So what's next? I asked as we stepped out of the alley. Took a quick look around and we started walking. Have you ever ridden a train before? No. This is going to be fun, I promise. He smirked as he held open the door to the train station. In a matter of moments, a man dressed in a uniform went up to Marcus and started speaking in a foreign language. I had no idea what he was saying. Marcus spoke just as fluently in the same language, and in minutes we were sitting on the train.